Hey boardies, welcome to AmassGames. My name is Simon. I'm here with Jay from Cardboard East, and we're talking about the top 5 Asian board games. Now, there's lots of ways of defining an Asian board game. Is it the publisher, the designer, or the theme? Maybe even just the setting, because sometimes the theme and the mechanisms don't always work. Well, I've got a few games in front of me which are by a publisher. I know Jay has got his top 5 list. I will be talking about some honourable mentions. I know Jay has one in particular. Over to you, Jay.
Oh, hi Simon. It's good to be here. Glad to be here. I did the top five games from Asia that I've been playing most recently. So I'm going to go ahead and share some of those with you. Though the cheap one is the one that I'm always playing, like I have it in my backpack, is Nana. This is more popular in Europe right now, known as Trio, because I think they picked it up.
Yep.
I really like Nana a lot more. I think that they changed the theme to like a Mios de los Muertos theme, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I think that the cute Sai Beppo art is just really fantastic, and I found that with the Sai Beppo art, it makes the game a lot more approachable, and people see that and be like, oh, okay, I'll give it a chance. But it's essentially just a gamified version of Go Fish, which is just absolutely incredible. Every time I played it, people laugh out loud, it causes a lot of scene. People tell us to be quiet. Yeah, it's good, great times.
Cool. Okay, so my particular games, I have played Nana, also known as Trio. Only played it on Board Game Arena, but in terms of Trio, you cannot find that on Board Game Stats. It's only listed as Nana, which is really confusing. And there's some talk about trying to make them into separate entities. I can see why there's arguments both ways for that. Before I get on to my fifth pick, I'll talk about some games which you're definitely going to shoot down, which is why it's not making the top 5. But we talked about theme and setting. There's not many games out there that actually have a good theme which integrates into a game compared to a setting, and that is Sekigahara, which I do recommend
Oh,
if
love
you
that game.
have watched. Excellent. So if you have watched Shogun, that's going to be highly recommended because it's exactly the same year it's set in. There's no English bloke in this one, no English pilot, but it's the same year, historical setting, fantastic, very similar names, got the same kind of mon and stuff like that. Very, very good. Highly recommend it. Might make my best of the month as well. Uh,
Yeah, it's on BTG as the number one ranked block war game.
yes, yes, it's 6 for War, I think, and for Block War in particular. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
block war game. I think it's number one.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I think that's correct. That's what interested me, apart from the fact it's also a billionaire designer. I wanted to try a billionaire designer's game. Uh,
Really?
yeah,
I didn't know that.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
fantastic.
So I heard about that some years ago, and I thought, oh, it's always been in the back of my mind. But obviously, it's not a cheap game. But I just thought it's a two-player game. Obviously, good quality pieces, and now obviously with Disney Plus's TV show final episode at time of recording out next week on Tuesday. This is a Friday. Also,
Oh, nice. I
Spicy.
haven't, I haven't started watching it yet. I haven't
Oh,
started
really?
watching it.
Okay, good. I haven't spoiled it yet, so that's good for you. So spicy. This obviously is very much a pasted on theme. Obviously, it's not an Asian publisher. Maybe they have picked it up, but Heidelberg produced this. A friend brought this back to me to play from Germany, which is also where I got my copy from. But it has wasabi, pepper, and chili. Sounds like you may have played that one too.
Oh yeah, I love that game. It's great. I like bluffing games. Bluffing is one of my favorite mechanics,
Same.
and I love how there's a fuzziness to the deck. Like if they have that little card when you're making that deck for setup, and it's just
Yep.
kind of stick it in between those two arrows. Really great idea. It's a lot of fun, and I really like the artwork for that game. And I think with games for card games, while they can be hard to get the thematic integration with the mechanics, if you have really solid art, it just does a lot of heavy lifting for the game. Like Nana is a great example of that.
It's interesting though. With I like to sleeve spicy because of the lovely gold foil cards, but suddenly that arrow you talked about obviously goes out the window. You can't use the arrow anymore, which is a bit of a shame. Another game which I know you must have played, French designer here. This is an £80 version of it, Hanabi Deluxe 2.
Hanabi.
Blocks and yes, obviously he loves his Japanese style of games. Tokaido being another one of his, obviously a very cathartic game, that one. Tokaido being mentioned, of course, in Sekigahara because it's one of the two main highways. But here are the block pieces. If you haven't played the block version of this, yeah.
I've never even seen the deluxe edition.
So it's Deluxe 2 for some reason, but using blocks is really good because you can okay, they're standing the block up. Is that a 5? They're pointing it down. What is that? So that's some good memories with that one. Double checking, I've still got 5 to show you. 1, 2, 3, 4. I do have 5, but I am going to play this one because it's not a publisher, but the original one is Metro X. I have played the original Japanese publisher. Nice smaller box, very, very good. I think I do like this colourful one, obviously with the raisable boards, but this is by Game Right over in the States. This was sent actually from America. So there we go. Jay is going hard on the animations, which we've recently sort of discovered. And there's the next one going off. And Jay is using a filter, so he's looking particularly radiant today. I think I've got...
It's just to help with the lighting, because my lunar is a little bit dark. But I love Metro X. I think it's one of my favorite roll and writes out of Japan. I think I ranked it in the top 100. I had a run for a period where I would have Metro X mornings. I just play a game of Metro X. Why there aren't like a million expansions, like one for every city?
Yeah.
But yeah, I absolutely love Metro X. Something that people might be interested in is that like the original Japanese one, and then the one that got picked up, I think, by Game Right, at least here in North America. Their decks are different. I forget exactly how or why. Yeah, those are the things. And I know Game Right went with the new standard, like dry erase board and marker. But for me, I think something about the pencil and paper, that's just the tactile feel of it. It's just, I enjoy that more.
I agree.
Although it is very small.
So I know, I do agree. I have gone through, I think, over 800 sheets of one of my favourite games, Nokmal. So that's my favourite roll and writes. But for flip and writes, I think Metro X is one of my two joint favourites in that genre. So only one more game to go, which is in the top 5. And I know you've mentioned one of your top 5. Just checking. So
no, that was an honourable.
That was honourable. Good. Phew. Just checking. So it's the final one, and it's actually in shrink, but only this particular version of it, because I have a different copy. And that's Soloween, but it is an Asian publisher. It's by, I think this is a Taiwanese one, and this is Play With Us Design. So Soloween, and there we go. It's not making my top 5. Actually, there's another game I've got, a 2 in shrink, but I've played them. So you sometimes leave the shrink on the outside. But anyway.
Yeah, that's a great little abstract game. I used to live down the street from them in my old apartment.
Oh wow! In Taipei, cool. I'd guess.
Yeah. No, just like in Taipei. Yeah, just down the street. They were like our
down the tower.
Semi neighbors.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's a really fun little game. I remember I took that on a road trip in Japan once, and then I would just play it everywhere, and then. We took it to a bar, my buddy and I, and then someone saw us, and then there was like a little spontaneous tournament in the bar with us and all these Japanese people. It was really cool.
Cool, fantastic. All right, well, let's move into the top 5. I'm happy to start it off. We can bounce it back and forth. I know it's a game that you've played. I haven't got the expansion, but I should be getting it in a month or 2. And it is a roll and write. It is by Daryl Chow, so I'm sure we'll be able to work it out. It is Walk and Roll.
Walk and Roll, yeah.
So, yeah. For me, what stood out for me, and also being a best of the month for me, was the fact that you can use menus, which if you roll that, they help you create wilds. Now, it does have dry erase, and for some reason, the dry erase pens, for some reason, aren't working that well in this particular game so far. I don't know why that is. It's a bit odd, because normally dry erase are fairly standard, although sometimes the Schmidt-Spiel pens over in Germany, sometimes the nibs aren't too good and they're very inky, especially for Nokmal, funny enough. But I know with the dry erase version of Nokmal, which is the newer deluxe edition, it isn't. The pens are fine, but the board's a bit warped, which everyone talks about. I mean, that's not a big factor for me. But yeah, Walk and Roll, quite an interesting one here. They obviously got quite a let's say subdued artwork on the front compared to some of the other boxes I'll be showing you.
It's odd because like when you open it up, like the player board is like very, very colorful.
It is.
And then like when you get the Korean expansion, like it's just
that's what's coming next month.
More colorful.
Yeah.
But I love how what I love about that one is that they have 2 dice, and I think the other roll and writes do this as well. Like where the active player who rolls the dice gets access to all the things that he rolled.
Yep.
And then the other players can access part of the dice.
Correct.
Not all of them.
Yep.
So it's. And I find that like it's very combo-y, which is what I love. Like I do this to get that, to unlock this, to unlock that.
Yeah.
I do like the original base game, but I think I love the Korean expansion more.
That's what I'm hearing.
I think they listen to a lot of the feedback from people with Walk and Roll, and then the Korean expansion just kind of touched up on a few little things.
Cool. So,
but yeah, they're both great.
Yeah, the other interesting thing about this, of course, is you can modify it, obviously, with the reverse side as well, which is quite interesting. So that's nice. Doesn't take too long. But yeah, Nokmal from 2016 by Inka and Marcus Brandt. They did the Exit series, amongst other games, What they chose to do is, yes, having an active player takes 2 dice, and then everyone else can pick from 4. So it's a similar concept. Obviously, this is a lot newer game. I don't know if they're the first to do it, but yeah, it's something that it's nice to keep players in the game in the rounds. So what's
Oh
your
yeah.
fifth game, Jay, in the list in
Fifth
any
game.
particular order?
In any particular order. Yeah, in any particular order. One that I've been playing quite a bit is this one called Mini City,
Okay.
and it's not even on BGG, but it comes from a Taiwanese publisher known as Good Game Studios, and it's basically just Suburbia, the card game in a way. I don't know how else to say that, but like it's just a deck of cards. That's
Hmm.
all it is, and you're building a street, and on your turn, you could either do one of two things. You could activate like one of your 5 workers, and they have like these little numbers here. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's here. You flip it over, and then if you do that, starting left to right on your streets, you would activate all your buildings, and then some of the buildings here you can see have numbers on them like 3, 4, 5, and if they have a 3, then you activate all the buildings with 3. Or you could build a building, and the resource cost to build a building are just other cards in your hand. So, and they have wonders that allow you to do some special effects. There's lots of different suits to play off of, and every time I played it, I've built a different engine, which is really really fun. There's a little bit cheekiness and the humor to it too. Like there's one of the wonders is the Panama Canal, and it allows you to move one any card to any location, kind of like the Panama Papers, which is kind of funny. And yeah, I just really really like this game. I played it. It works great solo. I played it 2, and I played it with 3. But if you want 2 copies of the game, you'll have to. If you want to play up to, if you get 2 copies of the game, you'll play 3 or 4
Okay, that's good to know you can do
players.
that.
But it's. I believe the publisher is going to put it on BGG shortly, and I'll put the English cards, the translation of the English cards, onto BGG as a print to play, so anyone can print it out and play it.
Cool. That sounds pretty good. Okay, number 4. Do you want to lead us off for the fourth one? Back to
Oh, my
back.
turn to lead.
Sure, I don't mind.
Okay.
After you. Okay.
Well, I'm gonna be a little bit cheat. Like right now, like a lot of Kickstarters are launching, and I'm doing overviews for it. So naturally, those are the ones I've been playing the most. So in no particular order, um, the one that I've been playing is called ooh goodness,
Blimey, big one from
Gachi
Asia, which means obviously must
Gachijo.
be Japan. Oh wow, got them on there. Oh nice. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
Gachijo. And essentially, you are, and it's a very old school like Monopoly sized box.
Hmm.
And the reason why it is that is because I don't know how to explain it. Like you are ninjas going into like this little treasure castle there. I apologize, my screen is a little bit blurry, but if I could undo my filter here for a quick second, there we go. Like you are this ninja that's walking around here. The setup looks something like this. And what's interesting about this is that you're moving these little transparent pieces of paper. So you're moving the castle, and then you'll be moving your ninja. And so, like, there are also demons that you have to look out for. You pick up gear as you go through different layers, and there are different sheets and different maps. So that
Okay.
way, there's a little bit more complex variety in there, and it's quite fun. Like, you essentially just move the castle, move your ninja, and then you'll pick up gear. Maybe that helps you kill a demon, get the treasure. You want to get treasure and get out as quick as you can.
Cool. Seems to make sense. So what will I pick as number 4? Maybe something to try and meet that. No, I'm going to go completely opposite direction. This is, I can't recall exactly where they're from. I think it's from Hong Kong. Jolly Thinkers. So this is Deception, Murder in Hong
Oh,
Kong. Very big fan of this game. I've played it with lots of other players, including the expansions. I still haven't played my copy yet, but I've played lots of other people's copies. I was going to pick another game by them, but it's not a Asian designer. That game would be one of my favourite games, Bucket King 3D, which I don't know if you've ever heard of that one, Jay. Okay, that's by, I think,
uh,
Steph and Dora, whereby you have some strange-looking animals like pigs putting on lipstick and stuff, and it's very fun artwork. And obviously, just Google yeah, AmassGames and Bucket King 3D, you'll see it. But yeah, this has been designed by Toby Ho, illustration by Tommy KC5 and Ontung. And yeah, this is a game whereby you're trying to do stuff. What's the murder weapon? That kind of stuff. Different locations. I really like the player counts for the 12. I found it's really good in groups and doesn't take too long, about 20 minutes to play. So yeah, very much
yeah.
enjoyed this. Like the artwork. I don't know if it's coming back into print again, but they did start doing some more reprints of it. So yeah,
It's a really popular
2015.
game, and like a lot of people licensed it. It's that one game that really affected Hong Kong because Hong Kong. if you go there, you go to the gaming scene there. Like they play party games like all the time, and it seems like Avalon and Deception are the two games that just resonated with a lot of people, and also accommodates a lot of people as well. So they're loud. Like Asian, at least a lot of the board game cafes I've been to in Asia have all
Yeah.
been loud. I
Okay.
suppose they do the party games.
I'm aware. I mean, I haven't been to Japan yet. I've been to lots of countries in Asia, but I'm aware in Japan, is it they don't clap much in like theaters or something? Are they loud? Are those kind of board gaming events?
No, but it's funny. I mean, they do clap, but in fact, like Tokyo Game Market, which is in 2 weeks from now, um, right before they open the doors, there's this audio, and you hear this woman speaking Japanese, but she's basically saying, "Oh, we are about to open the doors, and yay, Tokyo Game Market is about to begin. Everyone, clap your hands!" And then all the publishers just all start clapping,
Wow.
and then they open the gates, and then all these people just storm in,
Wow.
and then they do that also, like closing. It's like, oh, it's Tokyo Game Market's done for the day, and then everyone claps.
Cool.
It has this nice, real positive feel to the game market experience.
Yeah, a bit different
And
to
I wish
Essen.
I kind of want all conventions to do that.
Cool. Have you been there many times to the Tokyo Game Fair?
A few times, yeah.
Cool.
But I
Okay.
think it's my favorite. It's my favorite one.
Wow. Okay. Very interesting. Okay. That was number 4 from memory. I think it's over to you for your 4th one.
No, I did my 4.
Oh yeah, that
So,
was it.
yep.
What do we go for next? I'm going to go with. Oh no, I'm trying to think of a different. Yeah, let's mix up the countries just to make sure. Telling you, there's no ranking here necessarily, but this is probably the highest ranked from this publisher that I like. Although I do have a few others yet to play, so I play about 10 of their games. Small box, very cute. It is Oink.
Oh,
Deep Sea Adventure. I love the icon because each of the box different icons by Jonsaki and Gorosaki. Sasaki, excuse my pronunciation. 2 to 6 players, 30 minutes, ages 8 plus. Push your luck game. Alongside Port Royal, love Push Your Luck in some games. In this particular two, alongside Not Can't Stop. Dinky size box. Yes, they do other sizes. They don't make it smaller than this. I have played games smaller than this, but in this instance, yeah, they do have Tiger and Dragon, which is like double the size. Nine Tiles Panic, which is a bit deeper as well. But yeah, very cute size. Obviously, not too expensive. And obviously a great game, very playable. I played this on a cruise, which I thought makes sense because we're out at sea. Sounds like you've played it. What's your thoughts on it?
oh yeah. It's a game that built the house of Oink.
Yeah.
It's a very classic like push your luck game, and I find that a lot of people don't have trouble liking it because they get too greedy and they die or
Yeah.
suffocate.
Yeah.
And they're like, I should have won. No, you just can't. You can't. You got to be very. I think you have to give up really quickly in that game
Yeah.
if you live.
You can win with 1 point.
You push your luck, just a tad bit, and then everyone leaves, and then you're just stuck drowning in the ocean.
Yeah.
It's great though. It's good times. I really enjoy it.
Yeah. Jettisoning
And I
your
believe they have
treasure.
expansions for it now with like different kinds of dice and like.
They have, the
and they-
dice tray and an extra die. I haven't tried that yet, unfortunately, but I have a purple character, which is obviously, last name being Lavender, is a nice thing. But yeah, I think 2016, I think Oink Games were about 2015, but this is the first one that really took off really well. And yeah, so far it's currently in my list. It's obviously one of my favourite games, obviously, from Asia. So what's your number 3, Jay?
Well, I mean, I also want to mention that Oink games, most of them are on Switch now. So if
Oh,
you're a
yes.
Switch player,
Yeah, I've got the app,
can play them.
actually. You can play it on apps as well.
and I remember I asked Jun Sasaki-san, like the owner and main designer of Oink, like, did you think that any of your games? I asked him like, I always liked Oink because their games felt like analog Nintendo games, like 8-bit
Okay.
Nintendo games. He liked that. He said that was the best compliment ever because he used to design games for GBA, Game Boy Advance, way back in the day.
Wow.
I had no idea, but you could totally see how that impacted his design.
Mm.
But I asked him
Beep,
if
beep,
any
beep.
of his games if he liked better in Switch
Yep.
as opposed to the analog copy.
Yep.
And he said that he liked Fake Artist Goes to New York.
That was my second choice. Yeah. But I don't
which
have that
is-
on.
He says like he likes that best on Switch
Yeah.
as opposed to it.
The
Just because
tank.
it's a little easier but I disagree with him because I think when you see those little facial expressions, especially in social deduction games. I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
that's-
So it's fun like, ah!
Um,
Yeah.
Yeah, but my number 3 of the game that I've been playing most recently is this little fella.
Oh.
He's very
Oh.
cute. He's key and a game box. You can open up his head and do
What?
brain surgery. And then
Okay.
there's a deck of cards in there. And you
Okay.
pull out the deck of cards. This is called Park Life.
Okay.
I don't know why they use hedgehogs in particular, but it is a trick-taking game.
Okay.
And it's a tableau building trick-taking game.
Okay.
Which you don't, which I think you have seen before, but not in this particular way. And I love that it's a may follow, not a must follow. So though I always feel a little bit weird about those, about why it's may follow and not must follow. But then if you win the trick, you keep the card you played. Then everyone else loses their card, and then throughout the multiple rounds of the game, your tableau is increasing in points, and then each suit is a different weather for the weather for that day, and then you're scoring points depending on it. And I like that you can. There are multiple strategies in the game. Like you can go for like a lot of low scoring cards, or like big scoring cards, depending on what you want to do. And it's been really cute, a lot of fun. I've been really enjoying exploring my time, and the hedgehog does a lot of heavy lifting.
Cool. Actually, very cute. I actually wondered if it might be another game that I've played, which I thought it might have been on it, but I wasn't sure if it was an Asian publisher. So we've got 2 left to go. I'm going to go with this one next, which currently my version's in Shrink, but is another trick-taking game, so it's a bit of a back-to-back on this one, it seems. But the other option would have still have been a trick-taking one as well. So this happens to be for Northwood, a solo game. So,
oh yes.
So this is by Will Su over in, I think it's in Taiwan, I believe. It's by Side Rooms Games. Is that correct in terms of the country? I don't know if you can recall. Sounds like you might have played it.
I'm not sure, but I have played that game, and I really do enjoy it. I think it's fantastic. I never thought there would be like a solo trick-taking game.
Yeah.
But I think I've really enjoyed my time with it. I recently thought about how it's weird how people complain that or shocked, like, oh, you play board games by yourself? What kind of person are you? But then the solitaire, the card game, has been around for decades, and it's
centuries probably. Yeah.
And if you see someone playing solitaire, you don't think anything else about it. Like, oh, that's just a normal activity.
Like a computer gaming.
Board games, there's this weird disconnect.
Yeah. Knockmal, that's another great game solo. I know so many people have the app who've now uninstalled it because they've played like 80 games in a week. So it's highly addictive. So, and I know, Deep Sea Adventure I do have on the Android, but I haven't tried it as an app yet. But I know there are other options out there too. So, yeah, what's your number 2?
My number 2? Okay. Well, did you do your number 2?
Yeah, yes, for Northwood.
I apologize.
That's all right.
So number 2 would be Of What's Left.
Okay.
Designed by Taylor Reiner from Taylor's Trick Taking Table, and art done by Sai Beppo. I've been playing this one a lot recently because, AmassGames Games is releasing Sears catalog, which is, it's hard for you to get the humor of the title because if you don't know werewolf and you know that there are werewolves and Sears, and then if you don't know that there used to be a department store called Sears and Roebuck, and then if you didn't know that they had a catalog which is called Sears catalog, and realize that this is a combination of all 3, then that joke is completely lost on you.
Right.
But I really love this game. They're basically the same games, like 1 or 2 minor rules tweaks. This one has like power cards, kind of like Tichu, because it's a hand shedding game. This one has like 15 power cards, but you only play with a few of them each time you play.
Okay.
And it's a very unique, innovative shedding game because instead of like going out like Uno, you want to try and get as close to 1 card and 1 card only. Because at the end of the game, the end of the round, when someone plays out all the cards, the round ends, they will score 0 points. Everyone else will lose a point for each card in their hand.
Okay.
But if you have 5 or fewer cards, then your lowest valued card will score you positive points. So ideally, like the dream is to get 113 in your hand. So you have 13 minus 1 because it's 1 card in your hand. You get 12 points, which can happen. I've done it a few times, but that simple twist of doing that really changes the game up. And I love shedding and ladder climbing games, and it's by far my favorite. Like, I will never play Tichu again because I think this does it better, and the score is super streamlined.
Cool. So I'm glad you actually, as a North American, saying that over in North America you said fewer than, because the amount of American games or games that come out from North America or published there, or they've been the art design or the graphics implementation development, and they've put on 5 or less. I'm like, no. So yes, I'm good points for the grammar there. And yes, I mean, one of my favorite games, actually, speaking of like classic card games like Tissue, is I felt Big Two, which basically became
Yeah.
Scout. And I thought Big Two's better than Scout, in my opinion. Now, I have met the owner, the designer of Scout as well. Myself, we were photographed over in Essen a few years ago. In fact, the copy I had was because they lost their copy for an award. So my copy was used in some official photographs elsewhere. I went, all right, I'll take it back. Thank you very much. Luckily, I was still in shrink, so because some people caught COVID at that event as well. So luckily, I made sure that was carefully de-shrinked. But yeah, sounds very good. Which leads us on to the number one, which is strange how we've gone with trick taking because I've grown up loving trick taking games, but it just so happens by accident, I think. There are other games I would have mentioned, like Young Nun as well, and Vegetable Stock by obviously Taiwan Board Game Design. Big fan of that.
That's the same designer as Mini City.
Oh, really? Okay, fantastic.
Vegetable Stock and Mini City,
Cool.
same designer.
Oh, and Christmas Tree I was also going to show because that's been obviously lent
Same
out.
designer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, and he also did, is it like Tokyo, Taiwan Night Market or something?
Yeah.
Yes, I met him. Yeah, we met him last year. So he's also on Instagram. Got pictures for that. So my number one is another small box. Funny enough, because Asians are known for having their small box games for their publishers. Is a
They
food.
live in an island for some of them, so like they want to keep it compact. They don't have
Absolutely.
big Alaskan-sized board gaming tables like they do in the States.
Absolutely. So this is a game by the publisher. There's a few publishers, but this one's Sunrise Tornado. Designer is Ta Ti Wu, based in I think Seattle or I think LA now, called
Big
Fork.
LA, yeah.
Yeah. So this
Yeah.
is Fox,
Big
Owl, Rabbit, Kale. So you sort of can follow in some respects, but yeah, that stands for basically a fox can eat an owl can eat a rabbit eating kale, and that can affect what cards you're taking. Quite a I don't want to say wonky game, like Trick of the Rails is an Asian, I think a Japanese game. Very interesting designer, that designer, but very wonky, as lots of reviewers would say. Some element of that going on here, very beautiful. I like the fact that if it's in the blue suit, obviously in the mountains, wherever it might be, you have got like the March hare, or it might be the blue hare, or the Arctic hare. So I like how everything's unique and different. And yeah, like a nice dinky thing. It says family, I can agree with that. I mean, there's educational elements, the food chain elements. I would say 8 plus is fair. I would say maybe close to 10 for some people, but probably an easier entry than a Hexacon, whereby I played Nikosu dice, which I know sold out over in Essen as well.
Yeah, no, it's I mean, Fork is definitely very approachable, but I really love the simplicity of that game style, and I think that approachable games also get a bad rap because I think like if you're a gamer and you have like a big collection like you and I have.
Oh, that's just a sixth of it. This
So
is just one room.
I mean, I play games with hardcore gamers, you know, like big Lacerda fans, but I also play games with a lot of people who are kind of new to the hobby and like they're dipping their toe into the water. So I probably wouldn't push them into like a game of Nikosu dice where it's very nuanced. There's tier trump. There's a lot of stuff going on, but stuff like Fork is something that's very approachable for trick taking, and it seems like this is a game I played before, but just with a slight little twist, and so yeah, that's so I think approachable games get a bad rap. I just want to say that.
No, yeah, absolutely. Cool. So let's hear about this very interesting number one game. After there's some fantastic more graphics.
Well, my number one game is my favorite game to ever come from Taiwan, and I lived in Taiwan. I'm an American, born in America, and I lived in Taiwan for like 18 years. But this one is for Mosa T, and it is coming out with a second edition because it's been a couple of years now, and it's coming out a second edition on Kickstarter next Tuesday. So end of I think April 23rd, and I've been playing a lot of this because I'm doing an overview video for the Kickstarter. But I really love the core mechanic of the game where you're either getting leaves, and then you're going into the factory where you're processing your leaves, and the factories are like this long process that you have to go along. But the trick is that once you're in the factory, you don't move your piece. You have to have someone to farm on that same line, and they push you forward. So it's this idea of, well, do I get leaves? And if I do get leaves, then that's pushing my opponents forward and myself. Or do I go in here and then let my opponents push me? And it's this interesting back and forth that I like about that game.
Cool. Sounds very interesting. Yeah, lots of leaves theme out there as well. Although from an Asian perspective, I don't think I've played too many. I do have Haru Ichiban, whereby it's a Bruno Cathala, so it's a French designer behind such games as Seven Wonders Duel or the Duel series. And yeah, you're looking to go lily pads and stuff. So yeah, maybe again the French and the Japanese are just nailing it. But cool. Any other games I'm thinking of? There's one game I didn't show you actually, which I hadn't got to hand, and that was
That's your
Tangram
number one,
City.
right? You haven't told me
Oh
your
yeah,
number one.
no, I did. It was Fork.
Oh, fuck. Okay, my apologize.
So
I just have goldfish memory over here.
So
Just
so it was Korea Board Games is Tangram City. So other games I'm looking forward to play by
yeah.
Korea Board Games, but I've played about 38 Uber games, which actually is a really good segue into the fact that we're also going to be talking on Jay's channel. So this is, I think the plan is probably, I still need to do some videos I want to get live, subject to this going live, so it'd be quite nice to make sure people can then discover that. But is the top 5 Euro games, and I'm sure I'm going to have an Uwe Rosenberg in there, I would imagine.
Dry Euros, right?
Well,
Dry Euros.
I think so. Jay was telling me what defines a Euro, like a European game, and I can completely get that. So maybe we should stick with that. But I'm thinking I might make it into Euro. I'm happy to keep it as European, but Europe is.
I think it's because like the old way of thinking was that you had like American games used to be themed, and then European games seem to be strategic,
Like,
and that was true for like the '90s especially. But now I think like those lines have been blurred, but we still use that terminology.
Okay,
So
I'm
I think
happy with European. I'll have to double check. So just to clarify, that would be a European publisher and designer. Is that right? I believe that covers everything. Oh, and theme maybe.
We don't have to be too strict about it because I think like labels are meant to be fuzzy.
Okay.
Like people always argue about Memoir 44 being a war game or not, and I'm like, well, it is. I'm sorry, it's not a hex encounter game, but it's. I mean, in a way it is, but not really. I mean, it doesn't use chits, but it's a war game. I think that it's. I don't think games have a Boolean scale. It's a 1 or 0. It's this.
No.
I think there's a lot of hybrid games out there now because it's a science base. It's just more fun that way. So it's okay to be fuzzy. We'll just keep it with the dry Euro.
I'm happy to. I mean, I guess I wouldn't have Knockmal in there, unfortunately, because of course that is an abstract kind of theme. It's a themeless game, and it doesn't look great, but it's just the gameplay is great. But I'm happy to stick.
That's fine. I love that. Bring back the beige.
Okay.
I love it.
Well, it's not even that. It's just quite crazy art. But let's go with top 5. I won't call it dry Euro. Well, you can title it as you wish to, but we might go with top 5 Euro games, or we could call it European games. But people might go, well, what does that mean? Maybe that's more clickbaity. I don't know. But maybe Euro is like, okay, they know what we're talking about. I want to watch that. It might be easy to search for as well. But the plan is, I think we'll have both go live at the same time. So whilst people are watching the videos, they can obviously minimize down or shrink down the size of their YouTube app, and then they can obviously type in whether it be Cardboard East or AmassGames to find obviously the equivalent video going live at the exact same time, and then people could probably be commenting on them at the same time. And I don't know if there's an equivalent of hotness on BGG, but something like that could well cause some quite fun algorithmic dissent or something. And people then can discuss those two lists. I think that could be quite interesting.
And Simon, bringing the machine down.
Yeah, the man and the machine, the android, or whatever it might be, who knows. But cool. I look forward to obviously speaking to you on that next video. I know it might not be straight away, so of course our lighting might be different. I know it's afternoon where you are, it's evening where I am. Obviously it is getting a bit lighter, so hopefully we'll be filming soonish to keep continuity to some degree. And yeah, obviously do let us know what your thoughts are on your top 5, whether it be Asian or obviously Euro games as well. So
yeah, I don't talk about games from the West that often on my channel, but I would love to talk about like my 5 favorite dry Euros.
Sounds thrilling to you.
No, but I think it's fantastic. Like there's some games today now, like I think it's interesting to see how video games have evolved over the years and board games have evolved over the years. And definitely, like when you think about games in the aughts, you think about the mechanics were kind of pushed forward, at least like in Europe, but the visuals were like kind of toned down. That's like a lot of games had beige, so it's very clear and easy to read, where it's definitely function over form. But that has definitely changed in 2024, where art will sell games on its own, and publishers spend a lot of money on art to grab that. And I think that games now put function over form a little bit more, because they know this. And sometimes like boards unfortunately are just so loud, and I mean they're beautiful to look at, but then when you play the game, like I can't really see. It's not very clear about what that is, how many resources you have. So it can be kind of frustrating for an old man like me. So
Yeah, all our brain cells are going for these gaming. So speaking about obviously nice art and theme, it's not European, but Whistle Mountain, for example, obviously art alone that really appealed to me, which is why I really want to play it. Yes, it is a Euro theme kind of game, very nice, obviously from North America, but for me, I just felt it was interesting. Full disclosure, Jay did not tell me to say that, but I know Jay does work for the company that does make it. But I just wanted to say that art in particular, compared to this, won't make my top five, but Kalimala does look a bit naff, quite frankly, as you can see. That's a Euro game. I haven't played my copy yet. I got this for like £3, but I played it before then. I just haven't played my own copy yet. But that game is boring. I'm going to keep back on. We'll talk about the next one. There's a lot of stuff I want to talk to you about art and why certain art was used in Euro games in terms of sort of theme and setting as well. But yeah, I'll end the recording in a second, and then we'll just have a chance to chat some more. Which with other podcasts has gone on for 2.5 hours, but I know you've got more of a deadline. So yeah, I'll end the recording, and let's see one final nice effect that you can stick with, which Google Meet does. What do you want to use? There we go. We know one doesn't work. Okay, back to the table.